Alright, let's jump right into some of the wildest news happening right now. There are three big stories blowing up everywhere. Donald Trump's plan, that sounds like something out of a movie. KSI's latest boxing announcement, that's turning heads, and not always in a good way. And Jake Paul teasing a fight with one of the greatest boxers alive. I promise, it's going to be a roller coaster. So let's go step by step and break it all down in plain simple language. Let's start with a story that's making global headlines. Donald Trump wants to take over the Gaza Strip and relocate over 2 million people living there to countries like Egypt and Jordan. Then he wants to turn Gaza into something he calls the Riviera of the Middle East. Basically, he's saying, hey, let's move everybody out and build a luxurious tourist spot. Sounds simple if you say it fast, but the second you think about it, it becomes super complicated. First off, a lot of people are calling this idea impossible and even unethical. The United Nations is saying it could lead to a huge crisis. Forcing people out of their homes is a serious issue that never ends too well. Countries like Egypt, Jordan and Saudi Arabia have already said they don't support this plan. They don't want millions of new people suddenly arriving. Palestinian groups like the ones in Gaza are furious because they view this as an attempt to erase their community. But here is where it gets interesting. Some folks online are asking if maybe there is a hidden goal. Could there be huge corporate plans for business deals and real estate development, making billions in the process? Is Trump just doing this to stay relevant, or does he really think this is a golden solution for peace and money? Honestly, it feels like one of those wild stories that might vanish in a few weeks, but for now, it has the entire world talking. From my own personal viewpoint, this plan sounds too large scale to ever really happen in the first place, but it's definitely gaining attention, which might be what Trump wants in the first place. Some people on social media are joking that Trump is creating hype for a potential comeback. Others are saying it's just one of his many ideas that never get off the ground. Still, you cannot deny it's a huge conversation starter. Switching gears, let's talk about KFC, also known as KSI, the YouTuber turned musician and then again turned boxer, and his decision to fight the legendary Dillon Danis, the famous and the renowned Logan Paul wife Rekha. Now, Dillon Danis is known mostly for hanging out with big MMA stars and for his wild trash talk. He's also the same guy who backed out of fighting KSI once before. That alone has people scratching their heads, wondering why KSI would risk scheduling him again. In case you did not hear, KSI was supposed to fight a former football player, but that fell through after some personal insults were made. Suddenly, Danis popped up as the new opponent, and people are either really excited or just plain disappointed. Some fans think this could be a big money match because Danis loves to create drama, as we saw with Logan Paul. He once punched KSI during a face-off event with a coffee, with the security rushing in. Other fans are rolling their eyes, saying, dude, we wanted you to fight someone who's actually been active in boxing. It's important to note that KSI recently lost to Tommy Fury, who's an quote-unquote actual real boxer. That made most of his fans think, okay, KSI will either hang up the gloves or go for another serious challenge, but instead, he's going for a guy who's more famous for messy situations and social media stunts. There is a conspiracy here too. Could KSI be choosing Danis because he knows the drama will bring in views and pay-per-view money, even if Danis is not the toughest opponent around? I've seen comments on Reddit and Twitter. Half the people are like, I cannot wait for this comedic circus, and the other half are like, is this a joke? But hey, KSI is a master at grabbing attention. Even if this fight ends up being chaotic, or if Danis pulls some last minute trick, which many fear could happen, it'll generate a crazy amount of buzz. Some fans argue that is exactly the point. Fights in the influencer world are more about the hype than real competition. Either way, I'll probably watch in some illegal site because, let's be real, we all love a good spectacle. Now for the final piece of madness. Jake Paul might fight Canelo Alvarez, one of the greatest boxers in the world. That's right, the same Jake Paul who started out making online videos in his backyard. He's already had some surprising wins, like when he beat nearly 60 years old Mike Tyson in a very controversial match, and now rumors say he's aiming for Canelo, who is the current super middleweight champion. The usual date they're talking about is May 2025, which is a big fighting weekend for Canelo every year around Cinco de Mayo. This alone makes some folks suspect it's just a publicity stunt, because Jake Paul also mentioned he might fight in July 2025 in New York. So which one is it? May or July? Some people think Jake Paul is just dropping big names like Canelo to keep himself in the spotlight. On the other hand, there is a chance Canelo might see this as easy money. He's a proven champ and Jake Paul is still new to boxing by professional standards. But there is also a fear that Canelo fighting Jake Paul would make Canelo look like he's chasing cash more than real competition and legacy. Online, you've got fans who say, no way, Canelo would stoop that low, while others argue you cannot blame him for taking a lucrative fight. Remember, influencer boxing events bring in giant viewership numbers. People who don't even follow boxing tune in for the hype. So from a business angle, it could make sense, but from a pure sports angle, it is a bit weird. If they actually sign their contract, it's going to be huge news and probably break some pay-per-view records. If it doesn't happen, well, we'll just chalk it up to another wild rumor in the world of combat sports. Now, let's piece all these craziest bonkers stories together. What do they all have in common? Massive hype, big risks, and tons of opinions. Trump is facing worldwide criticism for a plan that seems almost and nearly impossible to pull off. But knowing Trump, he might somehow pull it off. Who knows? KSI is facing criticism for choosing what someone called an easier opponent, who's known for more scandals than skill. And Jake Paul might be biting off more than he can chew if he seriously thinks he can keep up with Canelo. But the bigger question is this: are we living in an era where the silliest ideas create the biggest news? Because all three stories feel like something out of a reality show. Some say that is exactly what 2025 is shaping up to be, a year where you can't tell the difference between reality TV drama and real life events. I've seen plenty of theories across social media. One interesting one is that maybe these guys, Trump, KSI and Jake Paul, are all experts at getting attention, good or bad. They understand how to dominate headlines, and in our digital age, dominating the conversation is more valuable than anything. It's like they all figured out that big claims or risky moves make you trend online, and trending online often leads to money, influence, or both. At the end of the day, I see three possible outcomes. 1. Trump's idea gets shut down, or he gets shut down, but he uses the attention to fuel a new political push. 2. KSI actually fights Dennis, and we either see Dennis bail last second or a messy fight that everybody ends up talking about for days. 3. Jake Paul finalizes something with Canelo, shocking everyone, or the deal falls through and Paul moves on to another random celeb fight. But no matter what happens, I can guarantee we'll be talking about these stories for a while. The controversies might die down, but they will pop back up if any one of these big moves actually goes forward. People love the good old drama, and these three are all about delivering it in the spades. So that's the entire scoop. I try to keep it super simple, just laying out the facts and adding my own thoughts and some of the wild theories people are sharing online. Let me know what you think. Is Trump's plan too crazy to ever become real? Is KSI lowering his standards, or is he playing us all by picking an opponent who guarantees buzz? And do you believe Jake Paul can really square off against Canelo, or is he just tossing out names for clout? It is a lot to process, but these topics are everywhere, on the news, social media, and in heated conversation among friends. Alright, that's all I've got for now. Thanks for listening, and keep your eyes peeled for updates, because I have a feeling each of these stories is going to get even more chaotic in the coming days. If anything big happens, like a major twist or an official announcement, I'll be here to break it all down. Until then, take care, stay curious, and don't fall for any suspicious get-rich-quick schemes, whether it's a crazy cryptocurrency or plan to turn an entire nation into a beach resort. catch you next time. Peace!